Welcome back to German with John Berlin. Now, in the last lesson, we saw some of the basics, like what are the genders in the German language, like masculine, feminine, neutrum. So the days of the week, months of the year, and we also saw which are the three most important German grammar tables, which we need to learn in order to get the basics strong. So we need to do the personal pronouns, possessive pronouns, and articles, yes. Now, what is it that is required to do these three fundamental grammar tables? And the answer is, in order to understand these three tables, first of all, we need to understand the cases in the German language. Now, what is a case? If I talk about it, a case in a language means how the subjects and the objects in a particular sentence are structured. Yes, so that is what the case is meant. So we have three distinct cases in the German language. Without further ado, let's very importantly get started with this very important subject, very important theme. So be with me and bring all your attention to this very important topic. So the first case we have in German is called nominative case. Yes, it stands for the subject, the person doing the action. In other words, you could call the hero of the sentence the person who's carrying the action. Yes, so it is denoted by the reference question, which you need to remember: who or what. Yes, so the basic idea is nominative case is based on the subject and it is based on the reference question, who or what. A person who does an action, or a thing what does an action. Yes, perfect. For example, John visits. John is the subject. Mark invites. Mark is the subject. Sam bakes. Sam is the subject. The computer works. The computer is the subject. The watch runs. The watch is the subject. Yes? Okay. All right, moving forward, we have the second most important case in the German language. It's called the accusative case. Yes? Now, what is the accusative case? Like nominative case stood for the subject, accusative case stands for the direct object. What is the direct object? It could also be said as the second hero of the sentence, that is a person or a thing that is directly receiving the action. Yes, it is denoted by the reference questions, whom or what. For example, you could also understand it like this: a person whom action happens, or a thing what receives action. Yes, for example, John visits a friend. So a friend is accusative. Whom does John visit? Mark invites a friend. A friend is again accusative. Whom does Mark invite? Sam bakes a cake. Cake is again accusative. What does Sam bake? Yes? Perfect. So that's what it is. The direct object, accusative, denoted by whom or what. Okay, now we go on to the third most important case, and it's a little complicated as well. So be with me, bring your attention. It's called the indirect object, Dativ. Yeah, so that's the third case in the German language, known as Dativ. In other words, the indirect object. Now, Dativ could be the third hero of the sentence. Yes, comes in the last. So basically, it's a person who receives the action through the accusative object indirectly. Yes, what does it mean? That this person does not receive the action directly, it receives the action through the accusative object, thus the name indirect object. For example, it could be understood with the reference questions, which I could write here. to whom or for whom. These are the reference questions. You can understand it like this: a person to whom something is given, yes, that means the accusative thing is given, or a person for whom something is done, some accusative thing is done, yes. For example, Sam bakes a cake for John. So for John is dative. For whom does Sam bake a cake? For John. So John is receiving the action from Sam through a cake. Yes. So basically Sam bakes a cake. Cake is receiving the direct action and the cake is given to John. It's being done for John. So John receives the action indirectly. So for John is dative. Moving forward, Sam gives a cake to John. Again, to whom does Sam give a cake? To John. So to John is again dative. How it could be understood? Sam gives a cake. So what does Sam give? A cake. A cake is receiving the direct action and the cake is being given to John. So John is receiving indirect action and that's why John is basically dative. Exactly. In other words, to simplify, whenever the question is to whom or for whom, yes, to whom the accusative object is being given or for whom the accusative object is being made, it will be dative. Yes, perfect. And you always remember dative is always a person, never a thing. Okay. All right. Now, with this in mind, I would right away go into some exercises since the concept is fresh in our minds, and let's see if we can identify the cases in these day-to-day sentences. So this is the exercise here we have. Let's have a look. We have a small table. You could refer to this. It's just a summary. The case is nominative. Yes, it's the element which is the subject, like we talked about. The hero of the action, the hero of the sentence doing the action, and the reference questions are who or what, a person who does action, or thing what receives action. We have accusative, it's the element of direct object, a person whom action happens, or a thing what receives action. Yes, okay, perfect. And moving on to the third case, it's dative. Dative is the element of indirect object. It's to whom something is given, for whom something is done. That something is basically the accusative object. Okay, now I think I need to correct this in my definition. I'm repeating, nominative is the subject, a person who does the action, or a thing what does the action. Okay. Moving forward, here are some sentences. I'll do a few with you, namely five or six. Let's find out. Okay. Now, the man invites the neighbor. So basically, what would be the question? Who, nominative, invites whom? Accusative. So what is nominative? What is accusative? Who? The man is nominative. Whom? The neighbor is accusative. Is there any dative? No, there's no dative here. So moving forward, what would be the answer here? The man calls the neighbor. It will be who is doing the action? The man. So we could write here who calls the neighbor. Whom is the action happening? The neighbor. So whom will be neighbor. So nominative is basically the man. Accusative is basically the neighbor. Yes, fantastic. So similarly, we could do the others and we could have a look at this important illustration here. The man gives to the neighbor a gift. Okay, so let's find out. The man. So who is doing the action? The man. So we have who. Yes. Gives to whom? To the neighbor. Yes. So we have to whom. What? A gift. Yes. So who gives to whom what? Who, nominativ, we'll write it here. The man, nominativ, gives to whom? Who's indirectly receiving the action? It's the neighbor. Yes. So to whom is dativ. Could write it here. A gift. So what receives the direct action? Basically a gift. So what? A gift. Yes. Perfect. In other words, you could have a look here. Who gives what to whom? Yes. Fantastic. Perfect. Going to the fourth one, the man gives to the neighbor help. Again, who gives what to whom? The answer is the man, which is who, gives to the neighbor, which is to whom. Yes, help, which is what. So if I try to find out what is what, who is nominativ? The man. Whom does the man, or what does the man give to the neighbor? Help. So I'll write help. Yes. And to whom does the man give help? The neighbor. So I'll write the neighbor. Yes. So here is how you get your nominativ, accusative, dativ. Now the rest I would recommend you try and do in the exercise book and refer to the answers in the answer book. Yes. And I'll discuss some important verbs with you until then. And what are the important verbs? Let's find out. Here they are. Now, the man is called John Berlin. Now here the question is, who is called what? But we might think who is nominativ and what is accusative. But as you see here, I have not written anything under accusative. I have written both of them under nominative. Why? Because if you look at it closely, the man and John Berlin are the same person. Since they are the same person, basically the subject is equal to the object, and in such a scenario the case doesn't change. Yes, so basically there are only 4 verbs in German which we'll be learning shortly. The meanings of those verbs are to be called, and like we have here, the man is called John Berlin. Well, subject is equal to the object. The second verb is to become. The man becomes a writer. Who becomes what? Again, I have written both the subject and the object in nominative because they are both the same person. Yes, so that's the second verb, to become. Third, the man remains a writer. Who remains what? Written both in nominative since the subject and the object are the same. The verb is to remain. And the last one, the man is a writer. Who is what? Are written both in nominative since subject and object are basically the same person, and the verb is to be. I am, you are, he, she, it is. The man is a writer. Fantastic. So I would recommend that you just look up the workbook and do the rest of the questions yourself, refer to the answers, and this is the way we'll be learning German in all the future lessons up till B1. Whenever we have a verb in front of our eyes, we need to ask ourselves these important questions, which are written in this little table. I'll just show you once again. Who, what, whom, what, to whom, for whom. With these questions, we can understand each and every part of any sentence which we do in the future. Perfect. So you get busy with these exercises. Thanks for joining me for this lesson. I'm John Berlin signing off. Catch you in the next lesson. Bye-bye.